Welcome to Plantiques 101. My name's Suzy and today we're going to be making some DIY moss poles.
Hey everybody, it's SuzyQue and I'm here to show you just what I do. I have a passion for fish and exotics too, so come along with me, it's SuzyQue.
So the reasoning behind a moss pole is to kind of recreate what the plant is going to go through out in the wild, so to speak, by giving it something to grab onto. So a lot of plants, especially vining plants, have these aerial roots. And some of them are meant to just grab on and dig into actual bark in order to pick up the heavy vine. Other aerial roots will actually bring in, drink in water and nutrients for the plant to keep it healthy and growing. And many plants, when they hang over and hang down, although they look gorgeous, the leaves might get a little bit bigger and healthier if it's structured or supported by some kind of structure. So what I'm doing, because I have quite a few plants that I'm going to be either potting up or combining, but most of these plants need some kind of pole. So I'm going to make all different kinds of moss poles that I can find, and I'm going to just create out of whatever kind of stuff I have lying around. So let's go create some moss poles. One of the first ones I want to create is this 3-foot trellis. This was fun. This was a little more intense than some of my other ones. So this trellis I really wanted to use with my Rhaphidophora tetrasperma because I am taking 2 or 3 of my smaller cuttings and combining them into one plant. So I really wanted something large enough and wide enough to support 3 smaller plants and let it grow into this trellis. So there's many different things you can use, but for this trellis, I'm going to be using coconut coir mat wrapped around wood and tied with twine. So here's the coconut coir mat. It was very inexpensive. If you don't know, if you can get it at your craft store, Walmart, but if you don't know where to get it, I'm going to leave a link in the description below in case you want to use my Amazon affiliate link to get it. I grabbed this twine. Super easy, very affordable. It's going to last me a long time. One of the reasons I really like this coconut coir mat is because it's very inexpensive. It gives some depth for the roots to grab onto, and it's really easy to work with. All I have to do is cut the length of this mat to wrap around the pole. I tie it up in 3 different knots just to keep it tight to the wood. And then I grab my twine and wrap it around it and just tie knots. You gotta realize, no matter what it looks like, if I'm successful, you won't even see this trellis by the time this plant starts growing out. So I'm okay with the way it looks. So this is a little more intense because there's like 12 different pieces of wood that I wanted to wrap. Did I need to go all through all this? Probably not. But I really wanted to wrap this trellis up and make it a nice thick, every section of this trellis, something that the roots could hold on to. My next trellis is going to be one of these little bamboo. It's already been bent, so it's a nice little arch. By the time I put it into the wood, it's still got about a good 2 feet on it. I'm going to wrap this up. One I'm going to wrap up in sphagnum, and one I'm going to wrap up in the coconut coir mat, just to see the difference. But this will make a fun project as well. So all I have to do is cut it to size. And even if it wraps around more than once, that's okay. Now this is going to be the same process as what I did with the trellis. So I'm not going to bore you with the same process. I'm going to wrap it around, tie it in 1 or 2 places to keep it tight, and then wrap it with twine. Okay. So now if it goes into the pot, this one's good. Elizabeth gave me this netting, and this is like a very clear plastic netting. So I'm going to use this to wrap around my sphagnum moss. Now this sphagnum moss is from New Zealand. It's a little longer, fibrous. It's a little, I will soak it first so it won't get all over. I'm gonna use the sphagnum and wrap it. And now I'm gonna use, I have 2 bamboo sticks, 2 moss poles. This one is probably 3 foot. This one's 2 foot. And this I'm going to try to wrap with the sphagnum, which as you can tell is been soaking and squeezed out. And this cool stuff that my friend Elizabeth gave me. And I'm gonna leave about this much blank so it can stick in the pot. Still haven't figured how I'm gonna connect it. I'll probably use the twine since I have it right here. Now I'm gonna cut the length of it. So what I'm gonna do is lay this flat as I can because it's a little funky. Take some of this sphagnum, and this sphagnum, oh, I think I showed you, came from New Zealand. And I'll just put a thin layer down. I'm gonna go right to the end with it, pretty much right to the end, but not the top because I'm gonna pull it over like, whoosh. Oh, I like it. This is for a nice smaller plant. I'm gonna put some more sphagnum. Well, I'm not being so chintzy. So I'm gonna put some on the top of the pole now. I do like bamboo, it's very versatile. I've heard it's very invasive. There we go, how's that? Now I'm gonna cut a couple pieces of twine to keep it together. Because this top part, can you see this? I'm gonna pull it over, kind of like I do with my tacos. So the stick doesn't come poking through. Move this over. So first thing I'm going to do is just tie this to keep it in place because I don't want to lose where I'm at. I'm kind of packing it in there because I want it to be not too loose. I think I like the sphagnum better than the coconut coir. I gotta say, I like the twine better than zip ties. But now I can just twine it up. I'm gonna make sure it's overlapped just a little bit. All right, moss pole number 3. And I think I'm gonna take this down to the end a little bit. Kind of wrap the twine around just the bamboo because I don't know how much is going to stick out of the pot. It's almost like a corn dog, sphagnum moss dog. There's sphagnum. That's a small sphagnum stick. But the next little trinket I picked up was this little plastic. It's not really a hanger, but it latches onto the basket. I'm going to wrap this up. This will make a nice moss pole as well. So this is the plastic one I got at the store. I would sweep this all onto the floor, but it's my living room, so I'm not gonna. This one might be a little trickier, and I just might have to do it in piecemeal, so that is okay too. But this one I want to be sphagnum as well. So I don't know if I said this before, but putting 3 or 4 ties of twine does a couple things. One, it actually holds it in place while you move around and can keep going. Another thing it does is I leave the strings pretty long, so as you're coming around and wrapping, there's always a spot nearby to tie it up. this last one, I really wanted to try something different. I want to try putting putting dirt in here. So I'm thinking I'm going to want it to be about this big. That's what I'm thinking. So, like, I'm going to put in maybe 1 row of sphagnum, dirt, and then roll it up. So, I'm going to give it a shot. And for the end of it, I thought to use this just to make sure everything stays in and doesn't come out the top. So now first, I'm going to put sphagnum because it does hold moisture really good. So just a thin layer. And I'm going to put some potting mix. Little baby. Put a little bit more sphagnum. Gotta try and make sure that none of the dirt comes out the bottom. Now I'm thinking, how would this look? Maybe it's black. I think I'm gonna wrap it in black. Guys, I think I'm gonna wrap it in black. I like this ending. I mean, I like it because it's the salvage, but not when I'm wrapping. Solid. This is solid. Is it overkill? Maybe. I've never made one before, so. Glad I put the stick in here. Not a whole lot of support though, even with this stick. Maybe I should have stuck 2 sticks in there, huh? I couldn't find my tomato steak. I think it's too big. I don't think I can shove a stick in here. I was able to shove a stick up there. 2 sticks, it's much better. Much better. Oh, I love it. Love it. Now I'm going to twine up the bottom. There we go, guys. That's solid. Whew. Now this is the one with the coconut core mat, and it's for a smaller pothos. This marble queen, actually, but as it's growing up, it's gonna fill in and get larger. So thanks for coming out and checking out my DIY moss poles. I kind of had fun doing this. This was a nice project. It was fun to see different kinds of items I could gather up around the house and utilize. So I can't wait, and stay tuned because I'm going to be putting these moss poles to work. Thanks guys, and I'll see you next time.
Hey, everybody, it's SuzyQue. Hey, everybody, it's SuzyQue. Na na, hey, everybody, it's SuzyQue. So come along with me. Said I'm SuzyQue.